With all the craziness that's going on in the world, sometimes we forget to laugh. And we should not forget to laugh because if we don't laugh, we'll cry. And that's why one of the reasons we've invited on one of my heroes from way back. Rich Little is on the line with us. Rich, how are you?
Hi, fine.
I've been a huge fan for years, and I'm sure you hear that all the time, right?
Well, that's very nice.
And you've always done great work, and you're still doing great work, and you're going to be doing the White House Correspondents Dinner this weekend. You got that gig from being on Letterman, I understand, right?
Yeah, and it was interesting what you were just saying a couple of seconds ago about laughter. They almost thought of canceling that dinner because of the school tragedy. But Bush said that, no, I think we need a laugh, and Rich Little will be perfect, and I'm looking forward to seeing him.
It's going to be a lot of
fun. So we're going ahead with the dinner.
And you've been doing impressions for how long?
Oh my gosh, over 50 years.
Wow.
Which is difficult because I'm only 39.
Who are some of your favorites that you've done over the years? I know when I think of you, Carson comes to mind. Of course, Reagan comes to mind. But who are some of your favorites?
Well, those certainly are two. I would say Jimmy Stewart. Some people remember me for viewing John Wayne. Richard Nixon in the 70s was a big impression for me. Everybody has their favorite, and I never was associated with one person, although I came close with Nixon because it was such a popular impression, as they said back in the 70s.
So was one of them your breakout moment when you really got discovered? Who were you doing when that happened?
Well, I was doing a lot of voices that nobody had ever done before, and when I went on the Judy Garland show in 1964, I was doing Fred McMurray, and I was doing Orson Welles and Glenn Ford, and I was doing the ones everybody else does, the Jimmy Stewarts and the John Waynes, but I was doing Lloyd Bridges and Alfred Hitchcock, and I think the fact that I was doing voices that hadn't been done before, helped me a lot because I was different,
Yeah, and some of those are very difficult too. But then we got, we got some pretty easy targets these days. I would assume that George W. Bush, that's not too hard to do, is it?
George W. Bush. I don't know why the American people are picking on me. I haven't done anything.
So when you do these...
I will not be using that at the dinner, by the way, that line.
Oh, I hope not.
No.
So when you look back over you've done 7 presidents. Which is the
I can do
easiest
more
to
presidents, but I concentrate in about 7, yeah.
But most people don't remember Garfield, and they don't really remember what Lincoln sounded like. So.
No, but I can do Eisenhower if I had to.
I don't even remember what Eisenhower sounded like.
When I was president of the United States in 55, whenever it was, my only regret as commander-in-chief of the armed forces is that I didn't have the Normandy invasion catered.
Now I remember.
That was a joke I did. I remember. It's so funny. He sounded a little like Clark Gable when you think of it.
He did really a sharp clip to the accent, right?
He stuttered, huh? Yeah.
Well,
may I? And then of course Clark Gable just drop it down a notch, and frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Right.
But they're very similar,
Now, I'm sure you did Clinton too, right?
Oh yeah, I did Bill Clinton.
He's probably
I'm very grateful to him because he wrote me a lot of great material.
And it's sort of like a raspy Jimmy Carter, though, isn't he?
Well, he's easy to do. I mean, almost anybody can do.
Well, everybody has their impression.
All you got to do is just put that static in your voice, that little frog in your voice. I think it's Kermit the Frog is hiding there in his throat.
We're talking with Rich Little, who's going to be at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Is that Saturday night? Is that when that is?
Saturday night, yep.
And will this be televised, by the way?
I think it'll be on C-SPAN. I'm not sure. They'll pick up clips of it and put it on other shows. And, I remember the last dinner they did, the television Correspondents Dinner a couple of weeks ago. They had little clips of that on the news. So, it'll probably be picked up by certain channels,
Have you ever sat down, Rich, and really analyzed how it is you do what you do? I mean, I know as far as the the physical aspects of getting your voice or the way you do your mouth, or have you just said, if I start analyzing, I may not be able to do it anymore?
Well, you got to concentrate on the person you're doing. Try to do it from the inside out instead of from the outside in. In other words, become the person that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I used to get so into Johnny Carson on stage. I for a while thought I was Johnny Carson. I would finish the show, walk to my dressing room, and automatically start writing out an alimony check. and I had no idea why.
Oh, Carson was one of the great ones too, and you did that. I think that's one of the
Carson had 23 mannerisms. I remember when we roasted him on the Dean Martin roast. That was the hook. That Johnny Carson had 23 mannerisms, and I did them all in front of him and asked him each time, what did this mean? And if you never knew Johnny Carson and you saw me do all these mannerisms, you'd think the man should be in a straitjacket.
Right.
Because he had more tics than anybody I've ever known.
And that's part of it, though. I mean, when you're on stage, you have to act that out, don't you?
Oh yeah. The looking sideways, the scratching the head, scratching the arm. That sort of blank look, the golf swing. I mean, there were so many things you could do. A little bit like Jack Benny, Johnny Carson was. He had a lot of the same mannerisms. That sort of when he told a joke and it didn't go over, the way he'd sort of look at the audience,
right,
as if it was your fault,
right? Or who wrote that joke?
That wonderful boyish charm that nobody seems to have these days.
Now, have you ever had a complaint from somebody who said, I don't like how you do me, or I don't like you doing me at all? Has anybody ever gotten mad at you over it?
No, nobody. I've had people wonder why I don't do them, and I've had to bite my lip a few times. A couple of times I've wanted to say, well, because nobody knows who you are,
right.
But I didn't do that.
That or you're boring.
Or you're boring, or you don't have a voice, But... Remember Gene Barry? Do you remember Gene Barry?
Oh, yeah.
Pat Masterson. He once came up to me and said, "You don't do me, and I want to know why."
So, because nobody really knows who you are, except for those.
It's not that. It just didn't have a distinctive voice.
And that is. I mean, there's some people that are really hard to do because there's nothing distinctive about them. I mean, Clinton's easy, and
no, and some of them get away on you. I mean, I've never heard anybody do Harrison Ford.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
And I don't think he can be imitated. I just don't. There are a few. Gene Hackman. Nobody does him.
Right.
So some people, for whatever reason, are just not good subjects.
Not doable. Well, we'll see you do a bunch of them on Saturday night at the White House Correspondents Dinner. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. If we don't even get to watch it on C-SPAN, I'm sure they'll be running clips of it.
Well, it'll be fun to see the president react to. I think he'll get more of a kick out of me doing his father than him.
Yeah.
Because that guy that looks like him, I mean, I'm not going to compete with him.
That guy is hot, isn't
Bridges, he's wonderful. But when I start to do his father, okay, good, gotcha, okay, doing his father, George Senior, I'll see what his reaction is when I do that.
That should be fun.
I should turn to him as his father and say, "Now, Georgie, go clean your room. That's a mess, Smarten up. And, get rid of that pot, I don't think I'll do that. But
no, maybe not. There's some things you think better of. Richard,
he'll probably say, that's my dad.
It is a pleasure to talk to you. Always wanted to interview you. Have not had a chance, and glad I got to do that. And good luck on Saturday night. We'll be rooting for you.
Well, I'll keep my car parked facing north just in case I have to get back to Canada. You never know.
You never know. All right, Rich. Appreciate it very much. Rich Little.
Bye, Bill.
Thank you very much.